systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation YouTube station? We are back with another edition of the NBA show. We have a little mini 4-game DraftKings slate for us today, but we're going to break it down. We're going to give you the best plays that we can. Rio, I'll bring you in right away, man. How was your weekend? Happy Monday, and what's going on?
Yeah, weekend was good. Not a great football slate for me personally, but I know that we had a ton of people in the winner's circle yesterday, so shout out to everybody that posting those big screenshots in the SHIPIT Discord. This is a nice little palate cleansing slate. Definitely got some bigger slates throughout the week. Last games of the group play for the in-season tournament. So tomorrow we got a pretty big slate there. But tonight is a nice small slate. Everything locks within a 30-minute window. So we get our lineups in, and then we'll be done for the night, and we could enjoy some football, enjoy some basketball, and then get prepared for tomorrow.
Yeah, it should be a good slate. Got the football. If you haven't watched that show, the boys broke it down this morning, and Hebrewcheetah and I will break it down. I was excited. I was going to do a shoey. I was going to go full hoop, Rio. I don't know if you heard. I was going to do a shoey if Dawson Knox was on the winner, and thankfully he wasn't. Dawson Knox, X him out of your player pool. You do not need him, but in any event, hey, if you aren't a member over here at the Nation, I have SHIPIT Nation pulled up for you right now. Every single sport that we have to offer is up here. We're going to go through the NBA where we have projections. Rio and my guy BJ do a full breakdown on the showdown. Is that 5 nights a week, Rio, or is that 6 nights a week?
It's supposed to be 6 nights a week, but the way that the NBA has been going lately, we've had some smaller showdown slates, so we haven't been doing it every single night. But anytime there's at least a 100K prize pool, there will be a showdown slate. So should be Monday through Saturday. Definitely once football ends, we'll get those bigger prize pools.
Yeah, absolutely. Then the Stone, which we're going to go through, the GPP core report that myself, Hebrew, and BJ all put together. Title been crushing it all season long in the cash core report. Hey, the slate playing alone, that's worth the price of admission over here to the Nation. Hebrewcheetah, BJ do a phenomenal job on that Monday through Saturday, and then all the slate info that you would need. Hey, but if you aren't a member, make sure you enter that promo code BF50. That will get you 50% off your first month, or if you just want the football, if you just want everything that we have to offer over there, $99 will get you the rest of the football season. No promo code needed. $129 with the Shiptimizer. Let's just get right into it. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second, then I'm gonna share the Stone so we can give away all the goods over there. The Stone's popping up right now. This is what myself, Hebrewcheetah, BJ, the whole gang over here at the Nation go through. First game up, the Pelicans. My phone was blowing up around lunchtime today. All these guys missing, going to miss this game for the Pelicans. Taking on the Hawks. My boy Jalen Johnson been having a phenomenal season. Trae Young is playing tonight, I believe. But talk to me about these Pelicans injuries, and obviously they're undermanned. They've lost, I think, 12, 13 in a row. Taking on Atlanta Hawks tonight, slated to score 120 are the Hawks, 10-point favorites. Talk to me about this game, Pelicans at the Hawks.
Yeah, Pelicans, they're going to be getting healthier pretty soon. Looks like Herb Jones is probably going to be making his return to the lineup sometime this week, it looks like. And then Brandon Ingram's still dealing with the injury that's held him out for most of this road trip. I think he's pretty likely to miss again here. They play on Thursday, so there's a couple days off. Get healthy, play at that home game on Thursday. So I would expect him to miss here, probably sliding Javonte Green back to the starting lineup. And the Hawks kind of dealing with some injuries on their own side as well. Trae Young still dealing with the Achilles injury, but he's probable, so gonna be in there tonight. Bogdanovich looked like he'll be back tonight. He's probable, and that's pretty much it. They got DeAndre Hunter back in the lineup, playing pretty managed minutes limit, but they should be pretty fully healthy for the most part. This would be a pretty good spot for the Atlanta Hawks tonight. The Pelicans are a train wreck on defense this season, even with adding DeJounte Murray back to the starting lineup. They're still bottom 4 in defensive rating, bottom 2 rim defense, bottom 3 3-point defense, and bottom 3 in transition. Hawks are one of the better transition scoring teams in the league. They're also playing a lot better defensively. The Atlanta Hawks are. They improved to bottom 10, where they're kind of sitting in that bottom 5 range for a while in terms of defensive rating, but they're still giving up a ton of three-pointers to opposing teams, dead last in three-point defense, dead last in catch-and-shoot defense this season. So there is some upside from a scoring perspective from some of these Pelicans. I think that it's pretty easy to break this one down for me. I think you're only really considering 3 guys if Brandon Ingram is out. If Ingram is in, probably gets me off of all of these guys. But I do think that if Ingram misses, I have interest in DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, and Trey Murphy. DeJounte is clearly rusty coming off of that hand injury that's held him out for most of the season. But he's been pretty solid from a usage and role perspective since he's returned. Had a 31% usage rate, which is team leading, 32.5% assist percentage, and just over 6 minutes of touch time per game. Pace of spot versus his old team. Definitely want to be ahead of the curve in terms of when he starts to, pile up those stats. And, he's the type of guy that can flirt with a triple-double on a nightly basis. So I think this is a pretty good spot for him. Should be matchup-wise, I'm not sure if they're going to throw Dyson Daniels at Murray or CJ McCollum, but either way, he can fill the stat sheet in multiple ways. So I like him in this pace-up spot here against Atlanta. Trey Murphy will be the next guy I mentioned. Kind of like Trey Murphy and McCollum for the same reasons, and that's because the Atlanta Hawks are terrible against three-point shooters. Trey Murphy has shot the ball not that great this season. Last 3 games, 7 for 28 over the from three-point range. But if those numbers start to trend in the right direction, he could put up a really big score at 6.2K. Should be cleared to play in the back-to-back as well. The whole team was pretty managed last night because they got blown out in a big way against the Knicks, so we didn't really see a lot of big minutes from these starters. So I would expect pretty full minutes from DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, and Trey Murphy. But yeah, same reasons I like Murphy, same reasons I would have interest in CJ McCollum. He's a lot more expensive and probably less likely to pay off the tag in a big way. So I'd rather get up to DeJounte Murray or down to Trey Murphy if I'm looking to get to one of these Pelicans. On the Atlanta side, Trae Young is very tough to click on right now. He's just not been aggressive shooting the ball. He's clearly managed by this Achilles injury. He only played 31 minutes last night in a close game against the Hornets. The assist numbers have been really good. He's averaging something like 25 potential assists a game, which you can see has some crazy assist numbers over the last week or so. This is a really good spot, though. Just an all-around weak defense on New Orleans, so I could see him putting up a pretty decent score. And he's only 8.8K, which is like the lowest we've seen him in a couple of years. It feels like. So I don't mind getting to some Trae Young here. They have the second highest team implied total too, so we should get a lot of scoring from these guys. If anything, we're going to get a double-double from Trae, so the floor looks really good, and I do think that if the scoring could spike here a little bit, he could put up a pretty big game here against New Orleans. Love the spot for Jalen Johnson here, your guy. Pace-up spot for Jalen Johnson versus a weak rim defense and a terrible transition defense. Those are the 2 things I look for when I'm looking to fire up Jalen Johnson. He's had a great role this season, right? Like, it's just him and Trae Young running the offense for the Hawks this season. He's 4th in the league in touches per game. I think he's got a shot for a massive ceiling here. The price continues to remain too low at 8.2K, kind of flirting with a double-double on most nights. So I like him a lot. I think that Dyson Daniels here is sneaky as well. The Pelicans are bottom 10 in turnover percentage this season, and we know that when Dyson Daniels hits one of those ceiling games, it comes with steals. There was that stretch earlier this season where he was getting 6-7 steals a game. Not saying that he's going to get that tonight, but I do think that is within the range of outcomes because we've clearly seen it a bunch. He's leading the league in deflections this season by a wide margin. So if those steals, if we get up to like 4 to 5 steals in this game, I think he could put up a pretty big score against this weak all-around defense. I like Dyson Daniels a bit. I think that DeAndre Hunter and Bogdan are kind of just like last man in type plays. Neither of them stand out as great values on the slate, but both definitely viable in a spot where this team should put up a ton of points. So that's kind of where I'm looking to go to in this game.
Yeah, excellent breakdown there. So did I hear you correctly say if Ingram is in, you don't have interest in any Pelican? Or if Ingram is in, would you have interest in maybe one of these guys?
It would probably just be Murphy at that point, just because I think CJ and DeJounte would be a little bit too expensive for life with Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then when it comes to Jalen versus Murray, 8,200 versus 8,000, I'm assuming you're siding with Jalen Johnson if you had a pick between the two. I know they're different positions, but just talking dollar-wise.
Yeah, I think Jalen Johnson is easily the best play in this game. I like what I've been seeing from him, just the usage and touch time and all that stuff. He's basically running the point whenever Trae Young is off the court. So definitely like Jalen Johnson a lot here.
Yep, I would agree, and I'm assuming ownership will follow as well. We got a bunch of revenge narratives in this game. Takedown. I agree with you there. Jordan Newens, what's going on, man? Gangrene. Wardo said Tibbs played the subs 9 minutes in the fourth quarter. You know it must have been a beatdown if he was doing that. Who else is in the chat with us? We got Jason Turner, as always. What's going on, my man? Austin's in the house. Jake, my boy's in here. Cody Berry, go collect with the new avatar. It's looking sharp, my guy. Sean Sullivan, as always. Parabay, as always. Kid Lightning. Williams in here. Justin's in here. Make sure you're hitting that like. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe. We got 3 games left. We got 100 people watching. Hopefully many more on playback tonight. That takes us to our next game. We got the cover boy, Jason Tatum, at home taking on these Miami Heat. Always a good little, I don't know if you want to call it a rivalry, but I feel like it's a rivalry. No Jimmy Butler tonight. That's the big news. So you are having some injuries. No secondary guys for the Heat. A bunch of them are missing too. My guy Jay Rich is missing. So talk to me about this game. I think it's going to be a blowout. Vegas doesn't think it's going to be that big of a blowout. I know. There's some guys on the Celtics missing as well. But talk to me about this game. Miami Heat at the Celtics. Celtics 8.5-point favorites.
Yeah, this is definitely the game with the most injury news. Definitely the most slate-changing injury news on the Boston side. Already going to be without Kristaps Porzingis, without Al Horford and Drew Holiday, so likely seeing Neemias Queta back in the starting lineup. Probably going to see Sam Hauser start again for Drew Holiday. But, I mean, you have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Derek White all listed questionable. Would not be surprised if multiple, if not all of them, sit here. I think Derek White is probably the most likely to sit because he had that foot injury over the weekend that held him out for a game, and he missed the second half of the game against Chicago. So he's probably the most likely to miss. And then, I mean, Jaylen Brown missed last game too, and he's dealing with an illness. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him miss. I think Tatum is probably one of those fake questionable tags. I'm not sure. It's just like an injury management thing. Been playing a ton of minutes lately with a pretty condensed schedule. So yeah, I don't really know where to go on the Boston side if we don't get the injury news going our way. I think right now Peyton Pritchard is far and away the best play on the Boston side at 5.5K. Should continue to come off the bench, but it's just so you can get him the 6th man of the year points pretty much because he's going to play a ton of minutes. He played, 36, I believe, against Cleveland in the game where Derek White missed. So I would expect something very similar to that in this spot. Regardless, even if White is in, I think he's going to take over that Drew Holiday role and see a ton of minutes. So I think that he is far and away the best play on the Boston side, and really the only person I'd be looking to right now if we get news that Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Derek White were to be in. But yeah, if those guys miss, and we're going to be playing guys like Sam Hauser, we're going to be playing guys like Jaden Springer and Jordan Walsh. Like all these guys are going to be in play if we get multiple of those guys, the Tatum, Brown, and White guys get ruled out. On the Heat side, really like the spot for both Bam and Tyler Hero here for different reasons. Bam, he won't have to be matched up with Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford, which makes the matchup very soft for him going up against Queta and Luke Cornett and, a mixture of Xavier Tillman as well. But the Celtics this year have actually been pretty bad at limiting rim scoring, which is kind of by design. Joe Mazzulla has said they want to win the 3-point battle. So they're okay giving up more looks at the rim as long as they're taking away the easy 3-pointers. I think that Bam could get it going from a scoring perspective, but he's also been very good as a facilitator lately. Double-digit assists in 2 of his last 3 games with a triple-double in one of those games. Sees the smallest usage uptick and assist percentage uptick with Jimmy out, but I think that the sample size is probably not big enough. I do think that he's going to take on a bigger role, and he looks like a really solid option. 8.1K. I think he's got plenty of upside here. Tyler Hero does take on a much larger usage role with Jimmy out, plus 2% usage rate increase, plus 5% assist percentage increase with Jimmy off the court, and is averaging 1.3 points per minute. Been leading the team in usage rate this season, second on the team in assists behind Jimmy Butler. So should take over that lead ball handling role, and in a really good spot here where he is likely going to be going up against, or likely will not be going up against Derek White and Jaylen Brown if those guys were to miss. So I think the spot is really good for Hero and is probably underpriced at 7.5K. And then Terry Rozier should continue to come off of the bench. I would imagine he's looked like he's settling into that bench role a little bit, playing a lot better. Should see. We don't really have a lot of sample size with Rozier on and Jimmy Butler off, but we can kind of estimate that he's going to see a higher ball handling percentage, higher usage, all that stuff. So I like him at 5.2K. I think there's plenty of upside here, in a revenge spot too against his old teammates. But yeah, I like Bam, Hero, and Rozier a bit, and probably not looking to get to these secondary Heat guys. I think you can make a case for Pelly Larson and Jaime Jaquez and Haywood Highsmith, but there's probably better value in that Brooklyn and Chicago game. So I'm going to keep it pretty tight on the Miami side and just get to Bam, Hero, and Rozier, and then Peyton Pritchard on the Boston side.
Do you have any they played last night? I was looking at Bam and Hero's numbers, 39, 37 minutes respectively. What's been Spo's, I guess, history with, back-to-backs and his big dogs playing big-time minutes like that? Any concern there that they may, play 30-something minutes, assuming the game is close?
I'd have to look at some of the back-to-backs from the season, but I would imagine they're probably going to be pretty close to full. The game against Milwaukee is the most recent back-to-back that we have, and Bam played 31 in that one and then 36 on the back end of it. So, yeah, maybe the minutes come down a little bit here, which would, I guess you can get to like Thomas Bryant if you want to, but probably a little too thin. But I would imagine they're pretty close to full, like maybe like 95% full.
Yeah. Hey, we know those Heat can't guard the three-point line. Hopefully my boy Pritchett can go 8 of 10 like he did the other night against I forget who that was. Whatever game that was, he hit like a million threes, it felt like. We got a lot of chat this game. Sean thinks that Hero's going to break the slate. Gangrene says the offense runs through Bam with no Butler and the little leprechaun, which I'm assuming that means Pritchard. That's who he's talking about there. Queta Smash Mont, Jake Swell says. Yeah, interesting game. Chalk Donkey Pritchard. We're hearing it all. Appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you're hitting that like. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe. We're 15 minutes in and we're halfway through the slate. Hey, this is that mini slate we talked about. Next up, we got the Nets, who you never want to roster on your DFS teams. Is that true again tonight with only 8 teams to choose from? They get a pace-up spot against these Bulls. Bulls kept it close the other night against the Celtics. That's who it was, and then they came up short. But talk to me a little bit about this game, Rio, in the injury news that we're going to have here. Nets at the Bulls, highest total on the slate.
Yeah, I think this is probably easily the most appealing game environment on the slate. We always like to attack the Bulls for the pace-up environment, also very bad defensively. The Nets have actually been playing pretty slow this season, which has kind of led to some less appealing game environments, but they have been able to keep the pace up against certain teams. We saw earlier this season when they faced off against the Grizzlies, they were able to play up to pace there and provide a pretty solid game environment. So I think this could be a spot where they do that again here, and they're also very thin, so we're going to have a lot of value and great matchups against this Chicago team that is getting killed at the rim, giving up a good amount of catch and shoot points as well this season. Bottom 7 pick and roll and transition defense. The Nets have mainly been giving up a good amount of rim scoring this season, but their defensive stats kind of look a little bit better than they actually are, just because they play so slow that you just don't get a ton of possessions in a game against them. But definitely going to see all those numbers kind of skew in the other way with Chicago going to play as the fastest paced team in the league. We know that. But the Brooklyn side have a ton of interest in Dennis Schroeder tonight with no Ben Simmons, with no Dorian Finney-Smith. He sees a massive role increase with Ben Simmons off the court this season, which is we've talked about a lot in the Discord, but 7% usage rate increase, nearly 18% assist percentage increase, averaging 1.23 fantasy points per minute. On top of that, this is a great spot against the Bulls, who are bottom 7 pick and roll defense, bottom 3 in DVP versus point guards this season. So I think Schroeder is an excellent option here at 7.1K. I don't think that's too expensive. I think that he could pay off this tag in a very big way. So a ton of interest in Schroeder tonight. Cam Johnson, I'm a little torn on because he should have a very big offensive role, but he's dealing with multiple ankle injuries right now. So I wouldn't be surprised to see his minutes get dialed back a bit. It is a good matchup versus the Bulls, who are allowing a good amount of three-pointers as of late. But 6.6K is a pretty full price tag for him when he's going to be pretty banged up. So I don't think I'm going to be going to too much Cam Johnson tonight. I think that's a good chalk to fade personally. I like the spot a lot for Nick Claxton, but his minutes probably get managed on a back-to-back. Only got up to 28 minutes last night, which feels like it may be the ceiling for him, especially when you add in Day'Ron Sharpe, who's going to be returning to the lineup tonight. I'll talk about in a second. But I mean, this is a great spot for these bigs. Bull is a massive rim funnel. No Ben Simmons should give Claxton a higher rebounding rate percentage. Jumps to nearly 19% with Ben Simmons off the court this season. So going to be getting all of those rebounds, but just hasn't been great as a fantasy point per minute guy, averaging right around 1 fantasy point per minute with Simmons off the court this season. I do think with the matchup there, there's a pretty wide range of outcomes. Could see him putting up a very efficient double-double, something like 20 and 10, and putting up 40 fantasy points against Vooch. I love to attack this Bulls team with opposing bigs, so I'll get to some Claxton, but probably not a ton, just because I don't think that the minutes are going to be huge here. Should see Jalen Wilson remain in the starting lineup. He's a value option, 4.7K. Trent Wofford, I think, is kind of interesting as a pivot off of Cam Johnson. I would not play them together. I think that if Cam Johnson minutes were to get managed at all here, it likely becomes Watford that has taken most of those minutes. So I think that he's an interesting pivot off of Cam Johnson at 4.4K. Shake Milton should get all the backup point guard minutes behind Schroeder, and then Keon Johnson should get in there in the starting lineup. Played very well over the weekend against Orlando. Put up 15 and 12 real-life points for 24.5 and 29 DK points. He looks like one of the best values on the entire slate at 3.5K. And then lastly, Day'Ron Sharpe at 3K. Probably going to get 16 to 18. I would say 16 to 20 minutes is probably his range. I would imagine the Nets go full 48 between him and Nick Claxton at the center spot. But he was a very, very solid point per minute guy last season, 1.2 fantasy points per minute. So something like 16 to 20 minutes gives him plenty time for to reach a ceiling game at 3K. So I think I'll get to some Day'Ron Sharpe here as well. On the Bulls side, I think that Vooch and Ayo are going to be the only guys I would be considering in single entry stuff. Vooch has just been great this season. Very safe floor in like the low 40s with a ceiling of 55 plus. This has been a good spot for centers all season long, with the Nets allowing the 5th most rim points this season. The return of Lonzo Ball has not really impacted Ayo as much as it has Josh Giddey. Ayo's seen 30 plus minutes in 3 straight. I think the matchup versus Brooklyn is one where they won't need a ton of wing size. So Ayo should be cleared to play 32 plus minutes tonight, and at 5.3K, plenty of upside there. I do think Lonzo is kind of interesting here. He got up to 21 minutes last game. Billy Donovan said that the medical staff, or 22 minutes, Billy Donovan said the medical staff cleared him to play more minutes in that game. So if we start to see that those minutes climb up to 25, he would be a pretty solid option. I think that he's probably the preferred option in terms of point guards for the Bulls. Josh Giddey is just terrible defensively and doesn't do enough on offense to want to run him out there for 30 minutes. So I think if we start to get something like 24 to 25 from Lonzo, 4K, I think he could pay off that tag in a pretty big way. So I'm going to be bumping up his projection a good bit and try to get to some of him in my 150 run, but definitely not a single entry type play by any means. And that's pretty much it in this game. I think that it's just the main suspects on the Chicago side, but there's a lot of ways you can go on the Brooklyn side.
Yeah, excellent breakdown there. What's going on, Anthony? The answer is at Sam's Club, shopping, buying in bulk right now. But Kobe White, I saw he's questionable. Is he slated to play? I would have a lot more interest in AO should he miss. But what are you seeing on Kobe White?
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's dealing with a couple different things right now. He has the non-shooting wrist injury, and then the medical staff was also working on his ankle. So it's a left ankle sprain now. So yeah, definitely pretty big news there. Yeah, I would imagine that would definitely increase the minute ceiling on Ayo, and then maybe Lonzo Ball a little bit. Probably THT soaking up some of those minutes as well. They played a lot of games in a short amount of time, so Billy Donovan has been kind of okay stretching out the rotation a bit. So I think it kind of would trickle down to a couple different guys and not just one in particular. But yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on. I'm not sure what the percentages that he plays or sits tonight is, though.
Yeah, we got 12 guys listed for the Bulls in the Stone, which you can see there, which obviously is a ton. It's a lot of bodies, and Vooch and Ayo look to be the best. 200 in here watching. Make sure you're hitting that like. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. I know you're in here to get all of Rio's takes. Hey, do us a favor. Hit that like button. We certainly appreciate it. Last game of the night, we have these, gangrene. Keon Johnson, Hebrew mentioned Keon Johnson squarely in play tonight. Hey, and why not? He is a VFL. Vol for life, Mr. Johnson himself, definitely in play tonight. This guy, LSU for life, says that Lonzo is cooked. The injury's called up to him. I can't say I disagree. But, hey, looking forward to talking this game. We know the Lakers coming off a game last night in Utah, squeaked one out. AD on the back end of a back-to-back. So is the King. Talk to me about this game, though. It should be interesting. Lakers 8.5-point dogs heading into the Twin Cities to take on the Timberwolves.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, shout out to Will Hardy for calling that timeout and wiping off the Colin Sexton game winner, because Jazz definitely need to lose games so we could try to get Cooper Flagg. So shout out to Will Hardy. But yeah, that was pretty embarrassing. Back-to-back here for the Lakers, dealing with some injuries. They will be getting D'Angelo Russell back tonight. Anthony Davis listed probable. So both those guys should be good to go. But Austin Reeves is questionable. Cam Reddish is questionable. I think Reeves is probably more on the doubtful side of things. I would imagine that is why the spread is what it is. Not sure. Just the Wolves being, this version of them is not as good as it was last year. So I think that the Lakers, if they were fully healthy, could probably be 3-point dog, something like that. But Lakers have played a ton of games lately, so I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys like Anthony Davis are a bit managed here. From a matchup perspective, Lakers still giving up a good amount of transition scoring this season and rim scoring, ranking bottom 4 in transition, bottom 7 rim defense. They did a very good job limiting OKC's transition offense over the weekend. Wolves are dead last in transition offense this season, so not a huge mismatch there. Wolves' rim defense has been not that great this season, but it's looking to improve a little bit. They did have a very strong showing against the Clippers on Friday, held them to just 92 points. Rudy Gobert played a ton of minutes there, so probably going to start to see these minutes get increased for these main Minnesota guys as they look to get their season back on track. On the Lakers side of things, it's pretty tough for me to get to these guys. I think AD is a little bit too expensive now. It hasn't paid off this price tag quite some time. He's had some massive games against Gobert since Gobert has come over to the Wolves, but this is their third game in 4 nights. So I wouldn't be surprised to see his minutes get dialed back after playing 39 minutes yesterday against the Jazz, 38 against OKC. Maybe something like 35 is more the range of things tonight for Anthony Davis. I just don't think that he's paying off the nearly $11K price tag if that's the case. LeBron would be the guy I'd be looking to spend up on the Lakers side of things. He's been really, really solid as a facilitator for the Lakers since D'Angelo Russell has been out of the starting lineup. And now with Reeves likely to miss, going to take on an even larger workload offensively. LeBron has not made a three-pointer in 3 straight games, but the last couple seasons has been very efficient shooting the ball from 3-point range. So I think if those shots start to fall, we see a very big performance from LeBron. JJ Redick has made it pretty clear he wants Anthony Davis and LeBron to be more aggressive. He wants them both to take more than 25 shots a game. So I think the scoring should be there for him. Not a great matchup against Jaden McDaniels, but very good bet for a double-double here with a lot of scoring upside. I think LeBron is the preferred option at 9.8K on the Lakers side. Probably won't get to any of Connect or Rui here. I think D'Angelo Russell is interesting if Austin Reeves were to miss. I would imagine they still go with Gabe Vincent in the starting lineup for a little bit more defense, but D'Lo should see a pretty big role coming off the bench. Nearly 5% usage rate increase, averaging 1.1 fantasy points per minute with Reeves off the court this season. He would be a pretty solid value with, I think, some pretty big upside here as well. That's pretty much all I'm looking to get to on the Lakers side. On the Minnesota side, I think the spot, regardless of the injury news for the Lakers, is very good for Anthony Edwards, but would be even better if Cam Reddish were to miss. He's kind of their best point of attack defender. So I think that if he misses, and I don't see how he doesn't go off here. This team needs to win, kind of in go mode right now, or the Timberwolves looking to turn their season around. But if they're throwing Max Christie on him, I don't really respect Max Christie much as a defender. I think that Ant would have a very big mismatch there. The Lakers have been a team that we've looked to attack with guards like for the past couple of years since LeBron has got there for sure. He's had some very tough matchups last week or so. Matchup against the Clippers, who have a bunch of very good defenders there. The Rockets, one of the best defenses in the league, and then the Celtics, same thing there. So I think this is a pretty good spot for Ant here at 9.3K. I like him a lot. Julius Randle, pretty solid mid-tier option. Rui Hachimura did a really good job defending him in the first game of the year, held him to 16, 9, and 4. But you could tell that Randle was not 100% there, returning from that shoulder injury. He's been very consistent scoring the ball lately with 7 straight games of 20 points or more before the matchup versus the Clippers. The Lakers' rim defense not been all that great this season, so I don't mind getting to some Julius Randle at 7.7K. Rudy Gobert, I would have interest in if I knew that Anthony Davis is going to be playing 39-plus minutes because they clearly need some more defense, and we saw that with the game against the Clippers where Gobert played 43 regulation minutes. Didn't really put up a very good fantasy score, was 2 points away from the double-double bonus, but 43 regulation minutes is pretty wild. Doubt he gets up there again if Anthony Davis is not going to be playing 38 plus, but still think that he could grind his way to a double-double here at 6.7K. Could see like a 15 rebound, 10-point game, and then could pay off that tag with a couple blocks and steals. So I don't mind Gobert either. Mike Conley looks like a very strong value at 4.8K. Played 30-plus minutes in 4 straight games as the Wolves need to rack up some of these wins. They're going to lean on their veterans a lot more. So that's why we're seeing Gobert and Mike Conley play more minutes here. So I think that he's a very strong value at 4.8K. And then Naz Reid is the last guy I'll get to on the Wolves side, just because he always has that upside. And I do think that if Anthony Davis does get managed here, that likely means that we won't see Gobert out there for 40-plus minutes, which would mean Naz Reid would probably get in there for some center minutes against a weaker defender in like Christian Koloko, those types of guys. So I think that Naz has plenty of upside at 4.7K.
Yeah, great breakdown there. The only thing that I would add is I just go back and you kind of mentioned the first game of the season. AD was just, he put up a 70 burger against this T-Wolves team. Everything was flowing through them. I like AD a little bit more than you, it sounds like tonight. That is a big boy price tag. And LeBron shot it, you said it too, 25-plus shots. He shot it 28 times last night, missed all 9 of his threes, still got to 58 DraftKings points. I think he's in a smash spot as well. Excellent breakdown. As always, Rio, we appreciate all 200 of you tuning in for the little mini show today. If you aren't a member at the Nation, head on over there now. Enter the promo code BF50. That will get you 50% off your first month. And if you don't want to do that, you can get the rest of the season for football for $99. There is no promo code required. If you want our best-in-class Shiptimizer, the optimizer that helps you ship, it is $129 with no promo code over there. That'll do it for us. Let me get back on the screen so I can see everyone real quick. That'll do it for us over here at the Nation. Hey, for my guy, Hebrewcheetah, good luck tonight in your contest. And as always, let's ship it.